Welcome to the Park Fanatic Podcast. Please remain seated while the podcast is in motion.
Welcome, everybody, to the very first episode of the Park Fanatics Podcast.
We thank you guys so much for tuning in. We really do. My name's Garrett Simcox.
My name's Gabe Montoya, and we're your hosts of today's show. We are very big amusement park fans, and that's what this show is going to be about. This show is going to be about the amusement parks, and under that falls theme parks,
Amusement parks,
haunts and events,
water parks,
and mini golf courses.
Of course, as long as it's a good mini golf course, we'll cover the mini golf course.
Everyone loves a good mini golf course. Anyway, so we're your hosts, and just to tell you a little bit about ourselves, I'm based in Los Angeles. I'm an editor here over in Los Angeles, and growing up, my main park and interest was Disneyland, that's where I started. What about you, Garrett? Where was your beginnings of the interest?
Well, I always loved Disneyland. Who can't love Disneyland in Southern California here? You have to.
It's almost a must.
It is. But if I were to pick my favorite park, I'd probably have to say Six Flags Magic Mountain.
Yeah, well, you're the coaster guy, man. That's what you are.
That's right.
You can follow Garrett at the Coaster Roll.
That's right. You can follow me for all sorts of roller coaster and amusement ride updates, of course.
See, this is the wonderful thing about this podcast here, is that we're going to get some really good point of views on things, because both Garrett and I come from very different backgrounds and interests in the amusement park industry.
That's right.
Garrett loves these roller coasters, and I'm all about Knott's Berry Farm and Disneyland, and I happen to like the roller coasters too.
Yeah, and who doesn't love Disney and Knott's, of course. We're big fans of those as well.
Exactly. Very big fans of those guys out there. So, also with this show, we're going to be wanting some listener interaction.
Of course.
I think that's pretty important for us. We want you guys to tell us what we should talk about. Give us some topics.
Because, guys, without you, this is nothing. We're just talking to ourselves. So
essentially, and then we would look, or sound rather, insane.
Which a lot of people in Los Angeles do seem to do that. So
I'm pretty sure there's a guy out front doing exactly what we're doing now, except we have a computer.
Yeah, that's about the only difference, is that we're actually recording what we're saying. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. We really do want you to interact with us. Tell us your favorites. Tell us what you think of the show. That's a big part of what we want.
Yeah, tell us where we need to improve, things like that, as well as, ask us any questions you want. And to fill up some subjects on the show, we want you guys to interact with us so that we're talking about things you want to hear.
That's right.
We don't want to talk about things that you don't care about, like
that's right.
Stuff.
IRS
returns, tax
invasions. Mortgage crises.
Yeah, my plumbing situation.
Anything that's really on Fox News late at night. We don't want to talk about that here. So
no, yeah, we're gonna stay away from the politics in general.
So
this is a politics-free zone.
Yeah, and politics and religion are out the window here. So
it's just like a dinner. The topics you don't talk about.
Yeah, exactly. So, tell me, Gabe, what's your favorite thing at Disneyland?
I am a massive fan of Indiana Jones. That was the movie I grew up watching. Like every day. I used to run around my backyard having my mom do the music, and I had a stick that I imagined was the whip.
You mean you had a whip?
Okay, I had a whip as a kid.
Just happened to be a stick.
Yes, that is exactly it. And I ran around acting like Indiana Jones. And when they opened up that ride, that happened to be my favorite ride, and it still is to this day. I think it's so much fun.
It really is.
What about you? What's your favorite roller coaster?
My favorite roller coaster? Well, it is 2015, and it may be a little biased since it just came out, but that Twisted Colossus over at Six Flags is
you've been
top of the charts.
You've been talking about that nonstop the past few days.
I can't get over it. It's the best.
You keep talking to me about videos I need to watch. You're telling me I need to go on it. But we're going to be able to cover that today. We're going to actually, that's one of the topics we're going to cover today is Twisted Colossus. And some of the other topics we're going to cover today are...
we have Voyage to the Iron Reef.
Knott's Berry Farm's brand new 4D ride.
That's right. And we also have, we're going to be talking a little bit about Universal Studios Hollywood with their new Simpsons area. And of course we have...
the Fast and Furious Supercharged.
So
some of this stuff is coming for Universal Studios' 50th anniversary, which is crazy to think that studio theme park has been around for 50 years.
And of course, we have the Disney 60th as well.
That's
to
even
discuss.
more insane.
Oh my gosh! You know what's really interesting is that it's such a young industry. We really have been here at the forefront of this industry for so long, and now we get to celebrate these anniversaries, milestones. Everyone grew up with these, you know.
These brands, these rides, these parks.
That's right.
So we get to celebrate this with them. Along with that is some things to look forward to, and that being Harry Potter, the Wizarding World of Harry Potter that's going to be opening up over at Universal Studios
So
Hollywood.
excited. Oh, man.
And then also, I know it's a little early, but I am a massive Halloween person. Halloween is my favorite time of year, and we're going to be talking about some little updates that have been coming out about Halloween.
Halloween Haunt. That's a big one for
Halloween
us.
Haunt. You know, actually enjoy what they do. They kind of save everything for one moment.
That's right.
So what we're going to be talking about today is Halloween Horror Nights Orlando has been releasing a little bit of information about what they're going to do, and we're going to cover that today.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, they've really been ahead of the game when they with what they were releasing and talking about and what they're going to bring for Haunt this year. It's really exciting stuff.
No, I'm very excited for that, and you know what? I think it's about time to get on this ride and talk about some of our first few topics here.
That's right.
So the first thing we're going to talk about today is Knott's Berry Farm's brand new 4D attraction, Voyage to the Iron Reef.
Oh man, that's been a big one, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's almost like it's setting a bar for Knott's Berry Farm now. They need a step above this bar now, and I was very impressed. And if anybody doesn't know what Voyage to the Iron Reef is, it's their brand new dark ride. It's a 4D attraction shooter,
Which means you're in the game just as much as you are riding the ride. You're part of it.
So what people like to compare it to, or at least a mashup of two different rides, is Toy Story Mania over at California Adventure, and that's Disney's ride, mixed up with Transformers at Universal Studios.
Of course.
And I think that is a very accurate description because they try to simulate motion and being pulled, things like that, and you're also shooting what they call freeze rays. You're not shooting guns, you're shooting freeze rays at these mechanical creatures that are trying to take over the park.
Yeah, because you can't shoot guns at Knott's Berry Farm. I guess that's not allowed.
Which is weird because they're a Western theme park based off of that. So it's a little tad weird, but I understand.
The robbers can shoot guns, but the regular park attendees, they just have to shoot blasters.
Blasters, freeze
blasters.
rays, and blasters.
right.
I'm okay with that. As long as I have something to shoot with and defend myself, I'm content.
There you go.
So,
and you'll need to defend yourself against all these...
the Kraken Queen, specifically.
Queen, that's right.
And this ride was developed by Triotech, who they also did a ride very similar to this over in Canada, at Canada's Wonderland.
That's right.
And that's been doing very, very well.
Yes.
And we're hoping that the same thing happens for us here.
Yeah, they're actually known as a video game company. So when they stepped up to the plate at Canada's Wonderland, they actually were stepping out of that and into more of the interactive dark ride game, and that's what ended up happening. It transferred over. It's very much a rideable video game,
and I think that's fun. I think that's kind of almost the future of rides now.
Yeah.
Is interactivity.
Yeah.
Is that a word? Someone tell me. Someone comment on this video, because we're probably going to post this to YouTube. Someone mention this below. Is interactivity a word? Let me know.
Don't worry.
Anyway,
we'll Google it later.
We'll Google it later. Google's good for everything. That's what I'm reading all this information off of.
There you go.
I'm just joking. I have it all in my head.
So, but it really is much different than a lot of other rides because they've taken a step away from practical sets and really put you into a screen-filled environment.
Well,
which is different.
they have a few practical sets in there. It's
Very
stuff
few,
to
though.
kind of really tie the screens together as opposed to really going through practical sets, which I'm completely content with because the screens are what are keeping you in that environment.
Mm-hmm.
And the practical sets, which I think the people who made those did a fantastic job.
They really
I think they did a really good job. I know that John Cook over at Knott's Berry Farm worked on that. He's one of the guys who was a haunt monster for a long time, and then he went into designing mazes and things like that. He worked on this, and he built a lot of the stuff in there. And I think he and his team at Knott's Berry Farm did a
fantastic
bang-up job on this. I think they did awesome.
They really did.
They did a very good job.
A very good job. Oh, that's
I'm very
slap
punny,
right.
guys.
You
I'm
hear
very
this?
punny.
That's me slapping my knee right there.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I apologize to everybody for that joke.
Oh, don't be. There's going to be so many corny jokes on this show.
So
you better get
many.
used to it.
So anyway, back to the ride, Garrett and I both were lucky enough to have gone to the preview event and ride this ride many times.
And I kicked his butt on that ride.
That is complete nonsense.
That is not complete
I
nonsense.
will post a picture
score.
of the scores. I will post the pictures of
whatever.
the scores.
Oh, you mean that time I was going through really slow so I could actually enjoy all the Easter eggs that they had to
See,
offer?
that was your excuse.
Yeah, that was the second time through, so that makes sense.
Speaking of Easter eggs, if you are a Knott's Berry Farm fan, you're gonna absolutely love this ride. This ride is chock full of Knott's Berry Farm history. Which it's fun. It's fun to look for these Easter eggs that they planted in there.
It's true because they have homage to Berry Tales, of course, the ride that it replaced.
Hammerhead's in there.
Hammerhead's in there. They have, of course, Boomerang and Accelerator in the background.
They also have Soapbox Racers.
Soapbox
They have the
Racers.
Roaring 20 sign in there.
The Roaring 20 sign.
And the cool thing is that if you shoot those and things happen.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil it for you, but things do happen, and it's been debated whether you get points on it or not. We have no idea quite yet. I haven't really solidified that.
Even the CEO of Triotech doesn't know because he
that was an answer we seem to have gotten a lot when we asked him questions. He's like, my developers know that.
Yeah, someone else that worked on the ride came up with that one.
But that guy, the CEO of Triotech, man, that guy is
Ernest Young,
one of the nicest guys you can meet. He is so genuine, and he'll answer any questions that you have, and he's very honest, which is the reason why we got a lot of I don't know.
That's right.
That's fine with me. And now, Garrett, tell me what you thought about this. Tell me what you thought of the ride.
I thought, a lot of people had a negative view at this ride at the beginning, but I think it's a great ride. I think it's a great addition to Knott's Berry Farm. They had nothing in that space for so many years. So
it was Kingdom of the Dinosaurs and Knott's Berry Tales, if I'm correct.
That's right.
Yeah.
And Kingdom of the Dinosaurs went down, how many years ago? Many.
I think it was 1999 or 2001 when KOD disappeared.
Yeah. And it's been getting moldy.
Or KOD went extinct, if you will.
Oh, gosh, there's another knee slapper right there.
Goodness gracious. Knee slaps all over the place today.
So, they needed to do something, and I think they did a pretty good job. It's a lot different than other dark rides, and the only problem that I see with it is the capacity issue. It's a little bit slow on the loading.
I can't agree with you enough on that. It's extremely slow loading. I think, but the good thing about it is that I think they have the ability to add more. They at least have the ability to add 2 more loading gates for another complete different car. So just to explain a little bit more, each car has, or at least train. Each train has 2 cars attached to it. Each car,
seat 4. It's 4 across.
So 8 total in each train.
That's right.
And unfortunately, there's only 2 load gates, which means every time a train comes in, only 8 people get to go on and then go into the ride. Mm-hmm. And it's extremely slow.
So slow.
If they add the 2 extra gates, they'll get 16 people on and going through all at once, and that'll move the line pretty quickly.
Hopefully they do that in the future. But, if you go into riding this ride with the expectation of, I'm just going to have fun. I just want to have a good 4 minutes in an air-conditioned dark room and have a blast doing it, you're going to love this ride. You really are.
I agree with you completely,
You could nitpick it to death, I'm sure.
You can nitpick any ride to death.
Exactly.
I don't like the style of bolts they used on this roller coaster.
That's right. And you could see the truck a little bit when you were transferring through, and you saw that tiny bit of drywall.
And I agree with you. I think that people kind of went in with low expectations on this ride. And, I'm not going to lie. I went in with very low expectations because when they announced what the type of ride it was, I think everybody's mind immediately went to something that was on the level of Disney or Universal, and
with practical sets. That's what they wanted.
We're not going to stroke anybody's egos here. We're not going to do anything like that. We're going to say it how it is. Knott's Berry Farm's quality hasn't always been up to par.
Well, I think their dark rides in particular really do stand out because, they're known. Their 2 main attractions that they are known for is the Log Ride and Calico Mine Ride. And
don't get me wrong.
Excellent dark rides.
Those are excellent dark rides.
When they're dark.
When they're dark, exactly.
I'm sure you could argue with me on that, but
I mean, those two rides, I think, speak for themselves, and they set up the idea of dark rides for everyone else, including Walt Disney. He went there and talked to Bud Hurlbut, who was the guy who designed those two different rides,
That's right.
and Walter Knott, and talked to them about their rides so that he could get ideas for his own.
That's
You
right.
know, I'm not saying that Knott didn't set those things up. What I'm saying is the quality of dark rides in comparison to Disney or Universal, I don't think has necessarily been up to par, because everybody these days have been set up for something fantastic and
That's right.
crazy.
And
So
a
people's
lot of-
expectations are high.
That's right. And a lot of other places, they have intellectual property that they can use. So with Disney, you see Toy Store Mania.
Cars.
Toy Story.
They used to live in stores.
That's right. There you go. Yeah, Toy Story. They have Cars. They have
Bugs Life.
Bugs Life. You know, and then at Six Flags, they have the Justice League.
All of the DC comics.
All of the DC comics. So when it comes to those dark rides, they have IP to kind of base it around. Knott's doesn't really have that.
They have the Peanuts characters,
Peanuts.
but
How do you make a shoot 'em up ride around the
Yeah, you can't really do. We're gonna shoot Schroeder. That's who we're gonna do. We're gonna shoot Schroeder.
Well, don't shoot Schroeder. What?
No, I
Schroeder
like him
ever
and his
do?
piano. It's all good.
Yeah.
I guess we could shoot the kite out of the tree.
There you go. There you go.
Something more kid friendly. No,
Yeah.
they wanted to go something with a little bit more oomph.
That's right. And I
But-
think they did it well. A good job.
No, and they did. And what I was saying before, and we got a little off track, but I went in with very low expectations because I'm kind of used to a different style of ride. And when I went in, I was extremely impressed. I was very impressed, and I came out of the ride wanting to go back in.
It does have rewritability, doesn't it?
And that's the good thing about it. It's not a dark ride that is static. It's always moving and changing, and then you shoot different things, you see different things, your car spins a different way. It's fun. It really is fun. And if I were to give it like out of 10 stars, I'd probably give it at least an 8.
An 8? Wow, that's pretty good.
I give it an 8 because I think that it's so different than the other offerings in the park, and it's really making Knott's Berry Farm more of a family park again than it is about the steel.
Which seems to be their direction that they're heading in.
Which, you know what I just thought about? That's actually really funny, that the whole idea of the ride is these monsters trying to steal
The park.
the park, trying to
park.
take the steel from the roller coasters away. And this is exactly what that ride is doing. It's
Yeah.
kind of like it's actually telling the park's own story, where it's trying to take the park back and make it the family theme park that it used to be, instead of just a place for roller coasters. Because I think that's what's important. I mean, don't fight Six Flags on their own game, right?
That's right.
Six Flags knows what they're doing.
Yeah, and you know what? They went a great direction with this. Their staple is themselves with their old view on theme parks across the board. They have the Western world. They have
Ghost Town, Ghost Town,
of course. They have all sorts of smaller park charm, and I think that's what they wanted. They really wanted to focus on is themselves.
I think they achieved that goal within this ride in particular.
That's really true.
I think it rang true with a lot of true Knott's Berry Farm fans.
Yes.
Who, Garrett and I, are definitely big fans of Knott's Berry Farm.
That's right.
And all the developers and people over there, I think they do a bang-up job. I think they're great.
Really do.
On to the next topic. I had mentioned it before, and I think you mentioned it. Twisted Colossus.
Yes.
We were
favorite.
talking about how this guy is insane about this ride.
I was so surprised by that ride. And I think that ride was the best ride of 2015. By far.
Really?
By far. Yes.
That's a
It's
lofty
a big
statement.
But a lot of people have that same feeling, I think. It blew everyone's expectations out of the water.
What blew your expectation? What in particular about this ride blew your mind?
I'd have
Like
to
what
say...
what your thoughts were before versus what they are now. Like what it changed. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it was the most unique RMC that they have done out there. So I think
for people who don't know what RMC stands for,
it's Rocky Mountain Construction. Those are the people that redid Colossus. They did the rehab on Colossus and put the Iron Horse track on top of it, which they've been doing across parks all over the nation, mainly only Six Flags parks aside from Dollywood.
yeah, I think there was rumors of like Ghost Rider getting it at Knott's, but I doubt it.
You know what? There has actually been some rumors, and we don't want to be, super full of rumors
We don't
over
like
here.
being dumb people.
But RMC did post some job postings online, and they actually had postings for somewhere in California, somewhere in Kentucky, and somewhere in Where was the other one?
Going to the fancy old phone here.
Oh. Well, yeah, we got to find out the exact places.
Well, I'm assuming those are all Cedar Fair parks. Am I correct?
No? You know what? There's been no exact speculations on where they're going. Everyone has the rumors, and the main one is that Dollywood is located in
Kentucky.
one of the places called Kentucky. That's right. So we wanted to double check here.
So Garrett's going to double check on his phone real quick to see where this other job posting was. But from there, I haven't been on Twisted Colossus yet. I've only seen videos and I've only heard rantings from this crazy man that sits next to me about this new ride. And I can't wait to ride it. It looks
it's just
fantastic.
Great. It really is.
It's smooth, you said.
It's really smooth.
It's fast, it's fun, and it keeps the spirit alive of the original ride.
And you know what the best part about that is that it's the most intense airtime in all of California. We've never had a ride that was so chock full of airtime, ejector and floater airtime. It's
wow, really?
Oh yes. So when you first see it from the parking lot, you can see how many airtime hills there are. There's 18 moments, and they are not lying about this. That's a lot of airtime. So, just off the first drop, you hit an airtime moment, and then you get thrown over that first hill. So much ejector time. The main complaint I think I had about the ride was that the restraints actually caused a bit of bruising, and by the end of the day, just because of the amount of force that it throws you into them.
See, I don't think that's going to be a problem for the normal person. Tell these people how many times you rode that ride.
Okay, I rode it 21 times.
See, that's going to cause bruising. 21 times on any roller coaster is going to cause bruising to your body.
It's true.
But for any normal person, not bad saying that you're not normal. Just a fanatic.
A fanatic. I am a fanatic.
Which is the reason why we're here.
That's right.
But, for anybody else just going on the ride once, it's not going to hurt them. It's not going to bruise them. It's not going to cause any bodily harm.
Yeah, a lot of people say that they really like the restraint styles on them, and that it may give them a little discomfort in the shins. But aside from that, it's pretty comfortable. The seats are comfortable. You feel real secure.
So it's not a normal lap bar then?
No, it's normal for what RMC does. They have the lap bar, and then they have the shin bender bar where it kind of forces you to keep your knees bent.
Oh, I kind of know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and that can be a little uncomfortable. But, aside from that, no over-the-shoulder restraints and having those two inversions, it just makes you feel so free, so open.
That scares me.
Great.
Not going to lie.
And that scares a lot of people, and that's why it's so great.
Inversions with lap bars, if it's not a launch ride, is scary.
But you see, the part of the ride that really launches you out of your seat is those airtime moments. The inversions on Twisted Colossus are so smooth, you float right through them. You would think that you would be hanging out of your seat on that Top Gun stall, huh?
Yeah.
But it's not that way. You float right through it. They've designed it perfectly to where you really just float right through.
So we're going back to what we were talking about before. Garrett, did you find out where the other job posting was?
We found No, we didn't.
Oh, you didn't find out? What a loser.
I know.
He can't find it.
I got distracted by Twisted Colossus.
I told you guys, he is the roller coaster guy, and he got very distracted with Twisted Colossus.
No, I love that thing.
But from what I've been hearing from everyone else outside of Garrett here is that everyone seems to be loving Twisted Colossus and its new little take on an original ride. And I can't wait to ride it. I think that the styling, from my point of view for not having visited yet and seeing these videos, I think that the style and kind of the theme is a bit odd.
You don't like the steampunk?
I don't know. It doesn't fit right. It's almost like they're trying to put a square peg in a circle hole. like steampunk water ride and Voyage to the Iron Reef makes sense to me.
Really?
Yeah, it makes sense to me in a certain way, and I understand it's kind of a hot topic right now. Everybody wants to have something steampunk. I mean, for goodness sake, not scary. For goodness sake, like Knott's Scary Farm had a steampunk scare zone of vampires. Yeah, they're called Necropolis.
Oh yeah, of course.
But I find it a tad weird. It doesn't really fit. It's not like the whole ride is a theme. It's just a roller coaster. And I mean, the theme fits for like Riddler's Revenge, and you walk into the Riddler's lair, and then there's question marks everywhere, and then the actual ride vehicle looks like something that the Riddler would make. But
you haven't been there yet, is that right?
I have not been there. It's just pictures and the experience of that area and
When you really
videos.
walk into that area, though, you really feel like you've stepped into a new theme zone of Six Flags. It's very well done. They have tons of little, I guess you could call them Easter eggs, but tons of little details on all sorts of aspects, whether it be the ride, the theater next door to it. They have a wonderful tractor that's all steampunked out. There's so much design work that really went into that area.
Well, I'm just gonna have to find out for myself when I go visit the park.
Oh yes.
It's just like first inklings of my opinion was like that's odd. I mean, the trains look okay. I will not back off of this. I actually think the trains are ugly.
Really?
I think that the design could have been a little bit better on them. I don't know what it is. I'm just not a fan of that orange.
But see, they have
purples.
4 different colors, and they all kind of play.
Are
in
they
with
green and
each
blue,
other.
just like the tracks?
Well, they have orange, purple, green, and blue, and then the green and blue play in with each other. They have green and blue highlights on the opposing trains, and then same
That
with the
makes
orange
sense.
and yellow.
See, I think they
Or
should have
orange
kept it with that.
purple.
They should have
do
kept
that,
it with
yeah.
the track color, because then that makes sense. Like the blue starts off on the blue track, green starts off on the green track, and then they switch.
And then you get twisted up, right?
Twisted Colossus, people.
Twisted Colossus. That's right.
So I think the general consensus is that it was a good addition to the park, correct, Garrett?
It's a great addition. I mean, they didn't have to tear down the iconic Colossus. No one wanted to see that coaster go. They loved it.
I mean, I'm not a huge Six Flags fan, but I was sad to know that Colossus was closing.
Yeah,
It's theme
everyone
park.
has a moment
It's
with
amusement park history, and nobody's really happy to see any ride close.
That's right.
Going on to our next subject, we're going to Universal Studios here. This is very close to where I live. It's literally up the 101 off of Barham. If nobody knows what Barham is, it's a street.
That's right.
It's a street that goes over
It is
near
a street.
Universal Studios, and so they have a few things going on over there.
Bunch of great additions.
They're developing a Wizarding World of Harry Potter for us, like they did in Florida. They just recently opened up a Simpsons themed area right in front of the ride.
Springfield. That's right.
They opened up Springfield. Now you could go into Moe's, get a
Flaming Moe
or a Duff beer.
That's right.
You get to go into Krusty Burger, get a Krusty Burger, and enjoy all the
foot-long
surroundings.
hot dogs with all the toppings.
Definitely a foot-long hot dog.
Yeah, and you can go over to the Quickie Mart. You can
Slushies,
you can
squishies,
get
squishies,
Of course, they're squishies.
So
Yeah,
and
that's
then
great.
and then other than that, they also just recently opened up what they are calling a ride, which isn't really
A ride.
true.
Some
it's just
people think that it's a ride.
it's the finale, their brand new finale to the world famous studio tour. And what that is that they redid the Fast and the Furious. Instead of a whole bunch of cars on sticks, now it's like King Kong 360 3D.
That's right.
Where you board the tram and you go and you are surrounded by the world's largest 3D screens and experience something. And I think the idea of that is really, really cool, actually. I think the idea of being enveloped in a movie is cool because that's kind of what Universal Studios is about. It's riding the movies.
They have
that's their tagline. If I'm right.
I'm not sure about that, but that's really their hold on the amusement park industry, especially in Hollywood. They have such a little amount of space, and they have neighbors right next to them, so there's no real room for expansion. They really have to focus on theaters and 4D rides and smaller thrills that are packed with action.
So this new little portion to the tram is called Fast and Furious Supercharged.
right.
And I think that all these things that are coming up are really to celebrate Universal Studios' 50th anniversary. So that the theme park that's been attached to the studio has been around for 50 years.
50 years. 50 wonderful years. They put
That-
out some
it's
amazing movies.
That's kind of insane.
It is.
That this has been around for 50 years. I mean, that's older than us.
That's right.
But it's still insane to think that it's been around for 50 years. So starting off with Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Harry Potter, we don't know so much about it quite yet. I mean,
They've kept it under wraps.
They've kept it under wraps really, really well. And I think the only things that we could really go off of are whether or not it's going to be similar to Florida, to
That's
Orlando's.
Right. That's right. And everyone loves Orlando. They say that it's one of the most amazing places that has ever been built by human beings just walking down Diagon Alley.
So, I'm a California guy, and I love California, and Orlando looks cool and all, but you can't beat the originals that were here. No matter how detailed you get, there's no
True.
there's no defeating the charm that the originals have. But I do agree with the extensive detail that has been going on in Orlando.
That's right.
The
detail
in
is
these
amazing.
themed areas. It's just insanity. I know my fiance went over to Harry Potter in Orlando, and she said that she's a huge Harry Potter fan, and she almost teared up walking down that street because it feels like you're in the movie.
It's real. It is like you are really there with Harry Potter in his world.
And I'm hoping that magic that they've created in Orlando comes and visits us here in California.
And it really does look like it's going to translate well. It really does seem to be a perfect addition to Universal Studios Hollywood. And of course, on top of that, we have Flight of the Hippogriff, their little junior coaster.
Yeah, it's
They're
just like a
putting
little
that in.
junior family coaster that's going in there. So that's going to be nice. That's something that
Their
Orlando
second-
doesn't have.
Yeah, well, no, Orlando has that.
Oh, Orlando does have it. My apologies.
Orlando does have that, but then, of course,
it's
Universal Studios Hollywood only has one roller coaster, so now they're getting their second.
And this is their first outdoor coaster over here.
That's right.
Their only indoor coaster that they have over here is Revenge of the Mummy, which...
That's right.
Don't get me started on that. I think that's a whole nother topic on another show, in and out of itself. Don't get me wrong, I
Revenge of
love
the
it.
Mummy.
But stop me. Please stop me. I don't want to get into this.
We won't, but it's going to be a great addition. I think the popularity of Wizarding World in Orlando has just been astronomical, and it's just great that they're going to bring it out here to Hollywood as well.
And I'm hoping that popularity kind of transfers over to here as well. And we're also going to have... I apologize. I don't really know the name of the ride correctly, but it's there. It's like the main attraction for Wizarding World of Harry Potter. It's the one where you're in the castle.
In the castle, I'm not too sure.
I apologize.
We're gonna,
I am
apologize.
appalled
We're
at
gonna
this.
find out.
Garrett's gonna find out the name of this ride. I can't think of it for the life of me. Oh, it's Forbidden Journey, isn't it? Something like that. Something similar to that. But we're going to have that ride here as well. And we're going to be able to go into all the different stores. You're going to be able to buy your wand and butterbeer and experience all those things that happened in the movie. And
I want that butterbeer so bad. I've heard great things about that butterbeer.
did you know you could buy butterbeer outside of
didn't know
Universal
that.
Studios?
Where do you get it?
Over here near me, there is a place called the Glendale Galleria, and they just opened up this really massive candy store, and they actually sell butterbeer, bottled butterbeer. Tell them that the Park Fanatics sent you. tell them that you heard about their butterbeer on our show.
That's right. Yeah. We need to get ourselves over to Universal and actually get ourselves the real butterbeer, because I just hear that it's just astronomical. I love what places are doing with that now. They really seem to be trademarking their drink. And
it's cool though. I mean, everyone's gonna want a squishy. Everyone's gonna want a butterbeer. Yeah. Everyone's gonna want a flaming moe.
Yeah.
You know, all these things that are from their favorite brands are their favorite shows or
Cedar
movies.
Point is doing that too. They have what is it? The Rougarou ice cream treat.
I have no idea what that is.
Yeah, it's bright food coloring and some vanilla ice cream, but because it's Rougarou flavored,
Berry Farm, they've been doing their Boysenberry Festival, Boysenberry flavored, freaking everything.
Everything you can still go get your fun bun. It's still there all
Fun
summer
buns
long.
are massive.
Oh, they're disgustingly delicious.
They will clog your arteries and your heart, die, and then you will be revived by how delicious it is.
It's really true. It really is.
But yeah, so I'm just hoping, wondering honestly, if the Harry Potter, its footprint. I know that our footprint here it's not as big. It's pretty small. I'm wondering how they're going to fit everything in without it feeling cramped.
That's what everyone else was thinking. But I think the intimate, small alley feel of it is what's going to really set you apart from the rest of the park. It's going to feel like you're somewhere else, even though you're right next to everything.
Yeah, I think it'll be fine.
It'll be a great addition.
Oh, I'm excited for it to open up, and they're all, unfortunately, sadness. They closed their year-round haunted house, House of Horrors, to open up a dining area and store that are themed to Harry Potter, and I am quite sad about that. But that's going to be opening up there as well, and then finally the construction is going to be done. We're going to be able to enjoy all the new offerings that Universal Studio has to offer. Oh, one thing we didn't even write on our agenda today is that they're doing a nighttime tour. They're doing a nighttime tour on the tram.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're doing a nighttime version of the tram, and John Murdy, one of the creative directors over there at Universal Studios, he's mostly known and famous for doing their Halloween Horror Nights.
Oh, of course.
He's been working day and night, slaving over this project, trying to get the lighting just right on the Psycho House and getting all these little parts set up so that you can enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great idea. Everybody wants to go on the backlot at night.
That's right. The Backlight Tour is one of their keystone rides, and it's sad.
And it would close early and things like that. And the only other time that you could go on into that area at night is during Halloween Horror Nights. And you would get to walk, which is insane. You guys should visit Halloween Horror Nights and go on the Terror Tram. You get to walk by the Psycho House. You get to walk through the War of the Worlds set. It's outstanding.
But
now you're able to go in those areas at night now without having to go to Halloween Horror Nights. It's part of the regular offerings of Universal Studios.
That's right.
And
just
to touch the topic that I happened to skip over, I apologize for not knowing.
By the way, because this is our first episode, we may hit a couple little snags, but we're going to get you the right information. We know that much. So it's the Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey amusement ride.
I was close.
You were
I
close.
was like forbidden something.
You were close. That's right. So, check out Harry Potter World next year, 2016. It's going to be their star attraction.
It's really going to be insane. I know that the crowds are going to flock to Universal Studios to see all the new offerings.
It's going to be great.
So,
it really is. So you touched on how much you love Halloween and the Backlot Tour and everything.
Yeah, the Backlot Tour, and it's going to be a really good addition because we're going to be able to carry that Halloween feel almost throughout the rest of the year. It's nighttime. We're going to be able to see maybe some scary things that Murray's been teasing, things like that. So anybody who's a Halloween fanatic like I am is going to be clinging to anything scary that they offer.
That's right.
And now that the House of Horrors is gone, so anything that they could offer that's any close to it, people are going to be hanging on.
That's right. And Gabriel here is our number one haunt fanatic by far.
So we are definitely going to be covering Halloween events.
Oh, we can't get him to shut up about it.
Yeah, it's an issue. It's definitely an issue.
I'm talking too much about Twisted Colossus. He's talking too much about Halloween Horror Nights and Not Scary Farm. Of course,
and Queen Mary's Dark Harbor. It's a massive issue.
That's my home one right there. Is
Six Flags?
No, over at Queen Mary.
Queen Mary. I apologize. I didn't mention Six Flags Fright Fest.
Of course.
Which, by the way, don't accidentally type into Google Six Flags Freight Fest because those two words are very close together. Freights. It's not freights. Freights like on ships that are being carried places. Don't make that mistake because I did one time and I was very disappointed at the outcome on Google. To go back to touching on the subject of Fast and Furious, I haven't been on it yet. I've watched on-ride video. I've read a lot of different reviews about it, and it's not getting stellar reviews.
It's not.
It really isn't.
It really isn't.
Even
the employees that wrote it on the employee preview, they were saying a couple things that weren't so nice.
And some of the things that have been mentioned is the animation in the actual experience.
I've heard it's a little cheesy.
Everyone says it's kind of cheesy. Everyone says that it kind of looks like a video game instead of real life, which is interesting because they're a park known for putting you in the movies. Why wouldn't it feel real? And I'm a little confused about that, why they would go in that direction, or at least in that styling. I mean, this does not detract at all from the entertainment of the ride. I heard it's extremely entertaining.
I've heard that it's a lot of fun, awesome. And it's in the same vein as you can pick apart any ride like you could on Voyage to the Iron Reef. Just like this, you can find 1,000 little problems with it, but if you go in with the idea that I'm just going to have 3 or 4 minutes of good dark ride fun, I think you're going to have a good time.
I think kids are going to enjoy it, things like that. And one of the cool things that I think they did with this is when you enter the experience... No, kids would enjoy it.
I hear there's a lot of girls in bikinis.
There are girls that are, quote, scantily clad.
Scantily clad, I believe
Scantily clad, because when you go in, there's a little bit of a party scene, but that party scene ends relatively quickly. I don't think it's anything that anyone's going to really go nuts over, but knowing this day and age, people can complain about anything.
Oh, of course.
Say they're offended by anything.
Mm-hmm. And
people are offended by the sense that I just said they'd be offended. And then to be offended by the fact that I said that they're offended by the saying that I'm offended.
I don't get offended.
See, right there. Offended that I'm saying he's offended.
Gosh, you're such a jerk.
Those people need a slap on the face, I'm just saying. Anyway.
But what do you think? I mean, we still need to get out there and write it ourselves, but we're going pretty much off of what other people have told us. And so far, It's a little wishy-washy.
A little wishy-washy on the reviews. You know what? You guys, if you guys been on the ride, tell us what you think, and we could mention your name here on the show, and we'll share your review on the ride.
Please
let
do.
us know what you think.
You can reach out to us on Twitter. You can reach out to us on Instagram and Facebook. You can check us out on YouTube as well. So make sure that you're following on us and interacting with us on those social media networks. We really want to hear your voice.
And, we'll give you all those specific things at the end of the show, but we just wanted to let you know where you can find us. So like, if right now you hear that and you want to listen to us and then go straight to our page and tell us what you think, then you can. So that's perfect. And let us know what you think. We are interested to know what the general public thinks about the ride instead of the people who have worked at the theme parks. Because I have those friends, too, who are tram guides who are a little disappointed.
Yeah.
They're biased. No, they're definitely biased. Yeah. They love the things that are being created there. But the fact that they're not impressed is an issue.
It's also, I think, a little bit because it was the opening day and they had a couple little snags
Tech
and
problems.
snafus. That happens with every new ride. So, those first reviews that came in may be a little bit skewed based on those findings. But, I mean, as they go on, they may improve. The overall ride may be decent once they get past all the technical issues.
Yeah. No, I think so. I think we need to give it some time, honestly, probably a month, to really work out its kinks and get to where it is. Because from what I remember, King Kong 360 3D had the same exact issues.
That's right.
They had the same technical issues because at that time, those were the largest 3D screens in the world with, 64 4K projectors, 16 or something like that. Some crazy amount of 4K projectors. And, any technology that's trying to encompass that much technology, or that much new technology is insane.
If you're going to go
I give them a
bigger
little
and
bit of
better,
a break on that.
Yeah, if you're going to go bigger and better than you ever have before, you're going to run into problems. So that's what's happened. I think we could really look forward to enjoying that ride for a while now. I do. It just, not everyone's going to love it.
Yeah, you can't please everybody.
You can't please
everybody.
But anything that gets me out of the heat in the middle of the summer, I'm happy with.
That's the only reason why I go on Small World.
There you go.
Do you think I want to listen to that song over and over and over and over and over again in different languages? I can't understand what they're saying, but I can assume that they're singing It's a Small World.
After the 8th line, it just sounds like gibberish anyways.
Pretty much. I mean, no offense to the Sherman Brothers, because those guys wrote a fantastic song.
That's right.
And it's catchy, and it's stuck in everybody's head, and I think that's the best compliment that you could give. But that is the song that will turn people insane and kill people.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
that's the song.
I think I've had many nightmares where that was the theme song.
It's like the episode of The Simpsons where they go to Duff Gardens and Lisa drinks the water, hears a song, and goes absolutely insane.
Exactly. All they need to do is tune it down to a minor note, and it would be the creepiest song that ever existed.
That would be awesome for Halloween. You're creeping me out now, man.
I'm a little creeped out.
No, for Halloween they should do that. They should turn it into something creepy.
Yeah, Disney doesn't really take off with the Halloween as much as the other parks.
They really should. I think.
Should.
I know that the park in Tokyo really delivers on some Halloween stuff.
Really?
I know that one of the years their theme for Tomorrowland was the fact that aliens landed and took over people's bodies.
Whoa.
That's cool.
That's intense for Disney.
I don't think Disney's ever really going to do anything scary.
Exactly.
I don't think they're ever going to go that direction, and I'm sad about that. Well, I guess like the one thing that you consider scary is Ghost Galaxies, because they have that little thing at the end that pops up and it's like, ah! Yeah, and people jump, people scream.
And Haunted Mansion is supposed to like creep you out, I guess.
I think it's
called the Haunted Mansion, for God's sakes.
That's true. Speaking of that, this is one of the fun things is that I always like to enjoy to share anecdotes, and then the listeners get to enjoy these anecdotes as well. So last time I was at Disneyland, I was there with my fiance and two of her friends, Chase and Megan, a married couple, friends of ours. We were in line for Haunted Mansion, and we were near the front of the line before you go into the room, before you wait to go into another room, before you wait to go into another room, before you wait to go into another room, and then you get on the ride.
There you go.
We were like about to go into the first room where you wait to go into the elevator sequence, the stretching room. We were outside of the Haunted Mansion waiting on the steps, and we were just chatting, and we just hear a scream, a kid screaming his brains out, and we see him run from out of the door all the way down the steps, screaming while he's running all the way
Like through the line?
around the horseless carriage, all the way down the line, out the exit, down past the rivers of America, past Pirates of the Caribbean, screaming.
He was just scared, I guess, from whatever.
I don't know what happened. And the thing is that portion of the ride, like,
it's not that scary, is it?
Well, when you're waiting in that room to go into the stretching room, there's nothing there to scare you.
Yeah.
What I'm assuming is that his dad did something. I'm assuming his dad, he was already on edge. He was already kind of like a little questioning the situation. And then his dad was the one who decided to scare him and immediately,
and now he'll never ride that ride ever again in his entire life.
He's going to be scarred for life. Or he's going to turn into like what I am, and I'm just completely obsessed with things that are scary. I'm a fanatic about
Maybe
things
he's
that are
a future
scary.
fanatic, man.
He might be.
Who
Who knows? He could be listening right now.
That's kind of creepy.
Right now.
That's a little scary.
Speaking of scary,
we
have
love the
Halloween
scary
news, man.
We have Halloween news.
Halloween news coming out of Universal Studios Orlando. They've already started kind of revealing what they've had planned for this year. Mm-hmm. So far, we know what the icon is going to be because they like having an iconic character that kind of envelops the entire park. And then we know their first maze.
That's right.
This is insane. These are the first news coming out for Halloween 2015.
That's great. And we've been really excited to hear what they have to say. They've brought back two of our favorite characters, of course.
Tell us who they are.
Freddy and Jason, of course.
We have our Freddy versus Jason maze, people. We get round 2.
This
is what we're getting.
Exciting. Oh my gosh. Can you wait?
I can't. I am so excited to see what they do with this. I'm excited to see what kills they choose from the movie to put it in there. Mm-hmm. You know, there are some good kills in that movie. Altogether, that movie isn't very good. It's a little lackluster.
It was like a cult following sort of thing.
Yeah, but the kills and some of the things in there they lend themselves to being used in a maze. Like when Freddy Krueger turned into the caterpillar and jumped in that guy's throat or something, or just a lot of the other different kills. The electrocution kill.
There's so many things.
The girl who gets stabbed onto the tree, things like that. There's a lot of different things.
And that's a big movie franchise, so they can actually play a lot with what they have there. They have a lot to make a maze out of.
And they know what they're doing, too, because they've done Freddy and Jason mazes prior to this.
Have they?
They've done other mazes based on those two iconic characters. So I think they kind of know what to do and what not to do with those characters, what works, what doesn't work. Mm-hmm. So I think it could be good. Mm-hmm. I definitely think it could be good, and I'm so excited for it. I'm concerned that it's not gonna be up to par,
over the top. Really?
I want it to be over the top.
What are your reservations? What are you afraid
my
of?
reservations is that it's not going to really put those monsters' best foot forward. I'm concerned
really
that they're not
advantage of Freddy versus
those
Jason.
characters and their who they are and what they do. And I'm afraid that it's just going to be a series of kills. Each room is just going to be a series of kills instead of just like a story or them fighting, you know?
That's right, because the whole thing that was terrifying was that he got in your dreams, and he made you scared of things that you didn't think you could be scared of at the beginning.
But I have faith in Orlando's
now tell me.
In their Orlando's ideas and direction. I have faith in them. God, screw that.
Who is this?
So, Garrett, I don't think you know this, but when I was about 5, I had a fear of clowns. I had a fear of clowns when I was about 5 or 4, and my dad had showed me it, and, beep, beep, Richie. And he scared me half to death.
I bet he did.
And Garrett, I'm not scared of clowns anymore. They just make me feel a little uncomfortable and they get a little sweaty.
So how do you feel about Jack coming back?
I am pumped that Jack is coming back. Jack is the best icon that I think Universal Studios Orlando has had in its history for Halloween Horror Nights.
They came up with him a long time ago, didn't they?
Yeah, they have all the icons that have been around are all of the ideas from them. That's all have been their babies.
Yeah.
And I think Jack is probably the coolest out of all of them, and I am stoked that he's back.
They really have released a terrifying little ad on social media. It looks horrifying. This man is laughing maniacally, and I don't want to meet him.
I don't think anybody wants to meet Jack. I think if you meet Jack, you are very unfortunate.
I think everyone wants to meet Jack. I think that's the idea, right?
Who am I lying? I would love to meet the guy.
He looks
the clown himself, face to face.
I think he's gonna make me scream like a little girl when we see him this year. So that's for sure.
I know that the last few years that they did use him. I know it might have been a while ago, but they did have some really fun, cool offerings of shows that included Jack and his like Carnival of Horrors, if you will, and that was fun. So I can't wait to see what they're going to do with this character this year for their 25th anniversary of Halloween Horror Nights in Orlando. It's 25 years. 25? Everybody's having anniversaries, man.
I know. This is the year. We should we really started at a good time with all these anniversaries.
We started this podcast when it's Universal's 50th, Disney's 60th, and Halloween Horror Nights Orlando's 25th, and then it's 45th for Haunt?
It was
here in California?
Was it 45th?
Is it 44th?
44th, maybe. They would be making a big deal out of it if it was 45th.
Yeah, it's the 44th Haunt, but that's not a big number. They just said the 40th was a bigger number.
Next year will be a nice big one, won't they?
I don't think they're going to do a 45th.
Oh, yeah, maybe. They'll
wait to the
something.
50th Haunt at Knott's Berry Farm.
I can't wait to see what they come out with for Scary Farm. I know they've been working on it for a long time now.
Yeah, and I'm actually quite excited. I know that Knott's Berry Farm keeps it under wraps.
They really
and they don't
do.
really release their mazes separately like Halloween Horror Nights does. They make a big production out of it. They make a big production out of it, and they invite people to come see the event, and then they save everything and just give you little by little in one big event.
Yeah,
they I was about to say something very inappropriate, and I caught my tongue.
There you go.
I caught my tongue. I'm trying to keep this.
We're making this a family show.
Family / PG-13 / morning show radio language, and I almost said something that was rather sexual.
Ooh. That's on
I'm
a
glad I
different
didn't say
podcast.
that.
Yeah.
Anyway, welcome to the podcast, people. But yeah, they really make you wait for everything. But I've heard a lot of inklings and rumors about what are going to be offered, but I was sworn to secrecy by this particular person. He works at Knott's Berry Farm, and he's heard some information about Knott's Scary Farm and what they're going to be offering and kind of new special perks for everybody.
And you know that you can check back here, and we'll have all that information as
we're
soon as we can.
definitely going to have that information.
As soon as we can release it.
Yeah, no, it's as soon as that information is released, come back here on our Facebook, on our Twitter, on our Instagram, and we're going to have all the information for you to look at. And on our website, for that matter.
Yeah, you can follow us. You can check out our new website, www.parkfanatic.com.
Yep.
We'll be hosting all of our podcasts there as well.
That's where you can find all of our podcasts.
And if you have any information or opinions on this year's haunts, we really encourage you to leave us a little...
leave us a message. Tweet us.
Tell us what you think.
Hashtag us, Park Fanatic. Hashtag us.
That's
we'll
right.
look at your questions. And let us know what you think about Jack. Are you excited for Jack to come back? Let us know down in the comments on the YouTube video. Hashtag us. Let us know if you're excited for Jack.
That's
For the
right.
25th anniversary of Halloween Horror Nights Orlando.
I don't know if I could call that excited. I'm more terrified. It's
Excited to be terrified. Excited to be terrified.
There you go.
Is what it truly is.
I guess there's some fun in that, isn't there?
Some new news has been coming out of the Queen Mary Dark Harbor area as well. I know that we don't have this written on our agenda.
Oh.
I just happened to bring this out of my arsenal of information that is
haunt.
of all haunts. They released one of their new mazes, and it's going to be called Lullaby, if I'm not mistaken. And it's going to be focusing on one of their, quote, real ghosts on the ship called Scary Mary. And that's the girl who drowned in the pool on the ship.
Oh.
And supposedly her ghost
Still
the
roams
boat
Oh,
around
yeah.
the ship around the pool.
Before that was even like a place that did haunt, that was a rumor there. And they had little placards all over the Queen Mary that says
Dedicated to each ghost.
each ghost, and they'll have like, Scary Mary walked through this part of the ship and this person saw them. And so just being on that ship alone is terrifying.
Without Dark Harbor going on, it's
right.
scary as hell.
Yeah, they still have one room blocked off where apparently something horrible happened.
You can't spend the night in that room anymore because apparently the spirit that is in that room is that violent.
Yep. And
That legally, they are not allowed to let people in that room. Which, just the fact that, and it'd be different if they're like, oh, we we just don't let people into that room anymore.
Yeah.
It's literally their legal department say you cannot let people in that room.
And either which way, if that's true or not, it is scary.
That's effing terrifying.
Yeah,
I don't want to spend the night in a room that I think I'm going to get murdered in by a ghost. Screw that.
Yeah, it's a terrifying place. And you know what? They do a lot of great stuff. They take you down through the engine room, and they put you in these small little compact areas of the ship that you don't even feel safe being in normally.
You wouldn't even think that somebody would be hiding in the area, let alone scare you.
Have you been in the engine room of the...
Yes.
Oh my gosh, it is just nuts.
One, it's awesome.
There's
Two, it's scary as hell.
Yeah, there's little catwalks and, different levels.
Creaking, the water hitting the boat. There's so many little different sounds that you can never, ever recreate in any maze.
Yeah, it is a scary place.
But yeah, so this new maze is called Lullaby, and it's based on that real ghost that's there. And the cool thing about Dark Harbor, which the past few years have really impressed me, they have been bringing it every single year, and they focus on the real ghosts that inhabit the ship. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, which is a topic in and out of itself, they really focus on what they think are ghosts that inhabit their ship, which is cool.
And it's not just them that speaks about these ghosts; it is their guests.
People have seen these ghosts,
these
spirits, these apparitions. People have noticed them and mentioned them, and there have never been any conflicting reports on who these people are. Exactly. It's always they know who it is, and they describe them in detail, and they all match up. Which is scary. But this is cool that they do that. They really focus on their own history and build off of that. So the fact that they're building terrifying experiences based off of real stories and whatever you think is real is pretty scary. I know that the Ringmaster, which is their main one, I don't think that's one based off of the ship, but every other one I think is based off of the ship.
Pretty much. Yeah, that's a great thing to check out. We'll definitely have coverage on that as time goes on. We love the Queen Mary haunt as well.
I've only been going for a few years, but I don't know how long they've actually been having a haunt there at Queen Mary, because I know that prior to Dark Harbor, it was called something else. It was like a different company or a different title.
Yeah, and
before it became Dark Harbor. And Dark Harbor is when they kind of revamped it.
Yeah, and that was because they sold, I'm pretty sure, don't quote me on this, but they sold the ship, and the new company that bought it had taken Dark Harbor and made it just phenomenal.
Well, they did a really good job with it.
Yeah.
And I can't wait till they celebrate an anniversary. And then they bring all this crazy offerings. I'm stuttering because I'm so excited.
It really is. It's something to check out, too. So we have lots to look forward to in the future.
Yeah, that Halloween stuff going on there.
Yeah, we got lots to cover in the future about, Scary Farm and all the haunts coming out. We also have a lot of new news coming out for 2016 as well.
Yeah, ton of news. And I think that in and out of itself is enough to cover an entire episode.
That's right.
There's roller coasters coming out and this stuff. So look for the next episode. And we're going to be talking about some of the 2016 offerings from parks in the Midwest and here on the West Coast.
And of course, over in Orlando.
On the East Coast.
We have SeaWorld coming out with Mako in 2016.
See what they did there? It's a sea animal.
It's
get it? SeaWorld, shark, fish, sea. Get it?
I think I get it. And they're using the hashtag nothing faster because Mako is going to actually be the fastest roller coaster in all of Florida.
Is it a launch coaster?
No, it is a hyper coaster. It's going to be 200 feet tall.
So what's the difference between a giga coaster and a hyper coaster then?
So a hyper coaster is anything over 200 feet.
And then a giga coaster is over 300.
300 feet.
Ah.
And there's a lot of speculation on what is considered a hyper, if it has inversions or if it's made of wood. There's only one, the Son of Beast, that was over 200 feet in the past, but now they have a looser definition on it. It seems to be anything over 200 feet.
Okay.
So, and Mako is going to be 200 feet, 73 miles an hour. It's going to be the fastest, tallest roller coaster in all of Florida.
Wow. Look out for the next episode where we really go into detail about Mako, the date it opens, some more specs on it, and what people are saying and speculations about the ride and who's excited and who isn't. Let us know if you're excited for Mako and tell us what you want us to cover about it in the next episode. Let us know.
Of course.
And we were talking about hoping that Dark Harbor gets to a celebration of an anniversary like all the other places have been. And speaking of anniversaries, one of the biggest anniversaries that has been happening here in Southern California is Disneyland's 60th Diamond Celebration.
Diamond Celebration, that's right. That park was packed for the 60th anniversary.
It was absolutely insane. It was like a sardine can.
Yeah.
Literally a sardine can. I wouldn't want to even be there. As much as I love Disneyland, screw that.
Yeah, they hit capacity a little bit later in the night. They had so many people show up at the park that they actually had to start turning people away, which is pretty impressive considering that they were doing a 24-hour event.
Yeah, and if you only go to Disneyland one time ever, I think the 24-hour event may be fun for you.
Yeah.
It's like double the time. As much as it is terrible at the very beginning, people start conking out.
Yeah.
People start leaving.
You know what was funny is the pictures from that event, there was just every wall, every bench, every single flat surface.
People were sleeping on benches.
Sleeping on benches. Like
people
it was,
were hanging out with the pirates on the Pirates of the Caribbean ride because there was no other place to lay down.
Just like anyone, kids, families, old women, all passed out just on planters and stuff. It was
like they were drunk, or it was like the apocalypse of zombies. People were just kind of walking around with no purpose.
Yeah, they all thought that they could hang for 24 hours, but then,
they thought wrong.
20 hours comes in, and they're, oh, God, I just want
I don't want to have a pretzel anymore, Mom.
Oh, my God.
Get that churro out of my face.
So, tons of passed out people and park capacity. It sounds like a lot of fun, but...
No. See, the thing is that it got so crowded in certain parts of the park that other parts of the park are completely and utterly deserted.
Really?
There were pictures of New Orleans Square completely deserted. Really? There was nobody there.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, it was a crazy event, and you know what? They really stepped it up with their Diamond Celebration. I mean, they don't really have to do much to really keep people in the park. It's such an iconic park that they can just
say it's a celebration and people come on in and buy everything up.
They can just, redo the Matterhorn and throw
the
Yeti in there.
Hey, they actually did that. And it was actually awesome.
Yeah.
What they did with the Matterhorn was really cool. So if anybody who hasn't been on the Matterhorn quite yet in the recent weeks, they updated it. They gave it a nice little facelift.
Yeah.
They gave it a new Yeti who's a lot more intimidating than it was before, and they updated the lift hill. So originally the Yeti was relatively static. He was kind of already stuck in a position with his hands above his head, with his mouth open, and you would just hear him roar.
And that was the only time you really encountered the Yeti in the ride was at that one point. Is that right?
No, there was 2 points. There's always been 2 points of where you met the Yeti, when you go inside the tunnel or the very first encounter. The first encounter, both trains see him in the same spot. One goes on the right, one goes on the left. But I think the major difference here is that the quality of animatronics have really gone above and beyond what we've...
They really stepped it up with this one.
Yeah, they really did.
And then, of course, with the video sort of the Yeti chasing you up the lift hill.
Awesome. So
insane.
Originally in the Matterhorn, they used to have, on the lift hill, they used to have like this really, really...
kind of lame.
Crappy, lame video projection of snow falling on what you could see a blue tarp.
Yeah.
It looked terrible. It absolutely terrible. And then you would go at the top of the hill, go through the dark, and then you would roar, and then you would see red eyes, and then you would go into the ride.
Yeah.
Now, when you go up the lift hill, it looks like ice has covered those holes, and behind that is the new Yeti chasing you up the hill, screaming at you, trying to break through the ice.
And I've heard that it depends on which train is going first.
Exactly. So if the right train goes first, the Yeti's going to be on the right. If the left train goes first, the Yeti's going to be on the left. An interesting side note.
If they leave at
the same time. This is a rumor, people. If anybody can confirm this, I will love you forever, and I will send you money.
People are
Give
talking.
me your address, and I will send you money if you can confirm this with video or picture evidence. But I heard that if both trains leave at the same time, the original Yeti will show up on the sides of the lift.
Oh, really? I heard that he jumps back and forth between both sides of the lift if they dispatch him the first time. See all these rumors and no facts. We got to find out what's really happening.
Yeah, let us know. Tell us if you heard any of this or if you can confirm any of this, because that would be awesome.
We need our Disney fanatics out there. Any Disney fanatics listening, you tell us exactly what happens on the matter.
Hey, you guys listening out there?
Hey.
You listening?
Hey.
Let us know.
Are you listening? Do you hear
I
us?
hope you're listening. So we have that, and then also when you get to the top of that lift hill, instead of it just screaming at you and then you go through it, they put speakers along the entire track, so it sounds like he's chasing you, and you could feel the pounding of his feet going through that tunnel. It's awesome. When I went on it with Chase and Megan, I've mentioned their names before. Megan screamed, made my fiance scream, made me scream because they weren't expecting that.
It's a whole new ride just with a little extra Yeti in there, you know?
Yeah, and then the new Yeti is amazing. Instead of like a full body Yeti, he's mostly from the torso up, but he's much bigger. He's almost the same size as the full body Yeti that we had prior, which means that his torso is about the same size as the full thing, which makes him relatively large. And he's very aggressive. He has his hands on the walls of the Matterhorn, and he leans forward at you and
I've
screams.
And I've heard that it's like individual per ride. Is that right?
Yeah, because it's on both tracks, so he leans towards whatever bobsled is there.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's terrifying. He's terrifying, and I love him.
Oh,
He's awesome, and I think it's a great addition to that Matterhorn, and I think it's so much fun. Yeah. Everybody talks about the Yeti, but the one thing about that ride that they need to change are those bobsleds.
Really? I thought they just changed them out not too long ago.
Yeah, they changed them for the worst, is what they did. It's painful.
I mean, I remember when it was more, like the log ride or something.
Yeah, where you have somebody sit in your lap, and some people don't prefer that. Some people prefer it.
They didn't even have...
Now you can't have it for date night, which kind of sucks.
Yeah.
They have your first date, like sitting in front of you. That's kind of fun.
It's 1, 2, 3 in each train, is that right?
Yeah, everybody has their own little seat now. But it's so compact. There's no padding whatsoever. Ooh. So those bumps get you right in the tailbone. You're hitting your kneecaps on the side of things.
And there's so many bumps.
There's so many bumps.
It's a rough ride.
Yeah, so
it is the first modern steel.
Yeah, it's the first tubular steel roller coaster that was ever created.
It's allowed to be rough.
It's allowed to be rough, but if it's going to be rough, you need to be able to have padding for people so they don't literally die on your ride from the amount of damage they're getting from their legs. You know how much damage you need to get to your legs to die? That's a lot, and that's what you're getting on that ride.
Just about as much as they'll give you on the Matterhorn, I'm assuming.
Pretty much. So, I mean, they've done that for the Matterhorn, and I think those are great additions. I think they just need to fix up their bobsleds.
Yeah. Well, maybe over the years we'll see that happening, because, of course, the Matterhorn isn't going anywhere anytime soon.
The Matterhorn's never going to leave Disneyland. It's the only Disney park that has it.
And you know what? I don't think Disney has to do much. They're having so many people come to their park that they are just turning them away. They can just, update this, update that, and call it done. That's
kind of what they've been doing, but they've been doing it in a good way.
They did it with the Hatbox Ghost.
They've been doing it with Haunted Mansion. Haunted Mansion. This was a big deal for people. People are massive fans of the Haunted Mansion. I'm one of them. I am a massive fan of that. Surprising. I know. I love Halloween, Haunted Mansion being my favorite. Big freaking surprise.
Big surprise.
But there are really big fans of the Haunted Mansion. And when it was announced that the Hatbox Ghost was going to be returning, people freaked.
They really did. They really did. I have never seen so much attention on just one little animatronic in a ride. But
it's kind of insane, and it's because there's so much lore and history that goes along with this animatronic, like this character.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know, do you know the history, Garrett, of the Hatbox Ghost?
I have heard. Why don't you clue up our listeners that haven't heard?
So if you don't know the history of the Hatbox Ghost, essentially what it is was a character that originally Yale Gracie, who was one of the animatronics guys, Imagineers, if you will, on the Haunted Mansion, and he created this character called the Hatbox Ghost. And what he would do is he was this kind of scary-looking character with a cloak on. He was holding a hat box. Mm-hmm. His head would disappear from his neck and show up in the hat box. And it was in the Haunted Mansion for all of maybe a day or 2 days.
Yeah, just a really short amount of time that people actually saw this animatronic in action.
It was so little bit of a time that it was in the Haunted Mansion that even when they took it out, people were questioning whether it was even in the mansion at all. So the reason why they took it out was because just the effect didn't work well.
It didn't look right.
It didn't look right. And the lighting wasn't right. The way it looked at WED was their Imagineering department back then. Uh-huh. The way it looked there, it looked fine because it wasn't in like an enclosure. Like you couldn't, nothing was, no exterior light, no nothing. It worked fine there. But when I put it in the ride, it didn't work. And apparently it was a little gruesome for people at the time. So people didn't really like it.
Yeah.
So they got rid of it.
And I heard also that one of the reasons behind them getting rid of it is because they would project his face onto the mannequin's face, and then when they would pull it away and put it in the hat box, you could still see the outline on the mannequin face. So what they did to overcome that obstacle is they actually made his head drop down inside of his body.
That's the new.
That's
the new one.
That was because they had that problem in the past. They couldn't figure out how to overcome that problem.
I didn't know that the original Hatbox Ghost was a projected face, because I know that technology has been around for a while because they used it in Madame Leota. Madame Leota is a face that's projected from the inside. I didn't know that was the idea behind the Hatbox Ghost in the first place. I thought it was just a lighting effect.
It was essentially a lighting effect. But
where it was like, it was an animatronic, they took all the light off of it and backlit it or something, and then the head would show up in the Hatbox. And I didn't know it was a projection effect.
It may not be. We're going to clear that up, but it definitely didn't show up. You could still see the face when they took the lights away, and that was why it never really worked out.
Okay, so and since then, people have been questioning whether this animatronic or this character of the Hatbox Ghost ever existed in the first place.
That's right.
And none of the molds could have been found. Like, nobody knew where any of the existing parts of it were.
It was just a rumor.
It just disappeared, and it became Disney lore, Disneyland lore. And people wanted to know who this character was, and this character blew up in the period of time between then and now.
Because when did Haunted Mansion open? It was in the 70s.
This is the 70s when the Haunted Mansion opened.
So it's been gone for almost 40 years now. That's pretty impressive.
It's impressive that a fan base has been around that long.
That's right.
And
just for this one animatronic.
Yeah, this one character. And, the Hatbox Ghost has been used in ads and merchandising and all this stuff for a long time. So when they announced that he was coming back, people freaked out.
That's right.
And now that he's back, I am extremely happy that he's back, and the way he looks is perfect.
It's great, isn't it?
He doesn't stick out like a sore thumb. He doesn't look like they just plopped him in there and just said, "Here you go, be happy. We brought him back," and he looks like shit.
No, they did it perfect this time.
No, he looks fantastic. Yeah. He looks absolutely fantastic. He looks like he deserves to be there.
Disappear.
It completely disappeared, and like Garrett had mentioned, his head. When they take the projection off his face, his head goes into his body, so you don't see it anymore.
It looks headless now. That's the whole point. It is really, and that was all they really had to do. They had to put in Hatbox Ghost. They had to throw in a new Yeti at the Matterhorn and call it a Diamond Celebration, and they couldn't keep people away. That is just.
They also have a few new entertainment pieces that came out. They have the Paint the Night parade,
of course,
and then they also have their new fireworks show. Paint the Night.
Beautiful.
Oh, and a brand new World of Color show.
Oh, of course, with Neil Patrick Harris right there in the Ferris wheel.
Yep,
and that's so cool.
And just to bring it back, we know that Neil Patrick Harris is one of the hosts, or not the host, but he's like the narrator for one of the original podcasts. Correct?
Oh, of course. Over at Coaster Radio, we love the guys over at Coaster Radio. So just a little shout out to those guys. We really have taken a lot of inspiration, and of course, we're big fans of Neil Patrick Harris.
So
and his
bringing that full circle is essentially what it is.
Yeah.
And Neil does a fantastic job.
Yeah.
In
he's a big Disney
show.
guy.
He's a big Disney guy.
That's what we love about Neil, is that he's a huge theme park guy, and he just said, "I want to be in a show, and I want to be in an attraction at Disney," and they made it happen.
Did you know that he already was?
I did not. What?
He is the voice of the California Screaming Roller Coaster.
Really?
He is the voice that says, "Sit back, hang on, and face forward."
I didn't notice
hang
that.
on, he's that voice.
That's pretty
He's
funny.
like, "Want to turn back? Too late." He's that voice.
Every time I go to Disney or Knott's, I hear he's a Knott's fan too.
He's
always
a
looking
massive
out.
Knott's fan.
I'm looking out like he's around here somewhere.
I would love to meet Neil Patrick Harris and just chat with him about Halloween Haunt and magic, because I know he loves magic as well. He's a magician.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Anyway, back to topic.
Yes.
I got a little off topic. I apologize. Neil, if you're listening, we're just fans.
And yes, of course. And of course, over at Coaster Radio, we're big fans.
That too.
We love you guys.
So those 3 different show offerings, I think that World of Color and Paint the Night are probably some of the coolest shows that Disney has ever brought.
Ever.
ever.
It really is. And that Paint the Night show has been something that they've been working on for a long time.
And it's basically Electrical Light Parade on steroids.
Yeah.
And on cocaine.
That's it. It's like a rave Disney style march down the street.
It's
it
really
is.
cool though. These floats
really
are massive.
They have a whole assortment of different lit up balls that all the Disney characters are riding along, and those balls are huge, the size of cars, and they light up all special. And then they also have the semi truck from the cars.
Mac the truck.
Yeah.
He's from there too, and then one of the racing cars from the show from the movie Cars is on the back of him. All animatronic, real life size Mac truck with lights all over him.
Oh, the whole back of the truck, the trailer part of it is actually a light cube, and they can send light through and back and up and down. It's just something.
It's really impressive.
It's impeccable.
And then with World of Color, they do a really good job of really hitting the emotional spot of the audience with regards to the nostalgia of Disneyland, which is funny enough because it's a California Adventure. But they do a really good job. You know, you see Neil Patrick Harris go through some of the different Disneyland rides and singing. He does the songs. They go through a myriad of different movies and the songs that you enjoy. They even incorporate the new Star Wars trailer into the show, and people freak out.
Yeah, they
people
really
cheered louder for that than they did for the show, I think. It was kind of weird.
Yeah, everyone was a little iffy when Disney bought up the Star Wars franchise, and now
very happy now.
Everyone loves it because now they can really go to Star Wars land practically.
They even included Marvel characters in the show very briefly.
Really?
They had like Iron Man fly through, and then Thor kind of bring down his hammer and things like that. It was very short, but they included it.
Oh, crazy! And then they also have the new Star Wars parade that they've been marching through. They've
what Star Wars parade?
They've been doing they've marched the characters down during the day. They have a Star Wars parade now.
I didn't know that. That's true. Never heard of that before in my life.
Really cool. Yeah, a lot.
Wow.
Star Wars is a huge.
Oh, it's
fan
massive
base.
now.
People
It's massive.
love
It's massive.
Star Wars. And with the new movie coming out, I think
It's only going to get bigger.
and we're only going to see more Star Wars at Disney, which is good. I think
By the
that's
way,
great.
Disney executives, if you're listening, don't turn Tomorrowland into Star Wars.
No.
For one particular reason.
No.
Listen to this. It makes sense. Disney executives, listen to me. A long, long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Long time ago. It's Tomorrowland. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and Tomorrowland has such a big impact on Disney and all their parks. How could you get rid of it?
You can't get rid of one of the lands to replace it with Star Wars.
No, I don't think
Just
they would.
Get rid of Toontown. There's one ride over there that makes a difference. Go place Mickey Mouse somewhere else and all of his friends and make that in a Star Wars land. That's a much better idea.
You know what? People forget that Toontown even exists.
I know, it's kind of sad because Roger Rabbit is one of my favorite rides. Roger Rabbit is awesome.
Yeah, it's a great ride.
Now, back to topic. The other show that they offer is their new fireworks spectacular.
Really?
And if you look at this from a plain old show, not a 60th anniversary celebration, it's a great show.
Is it?
They do digital mapping along the entire way of Main Street. They have stuff that blows up on the top of the buildings.
I haven't caught this show yet.
They
so
digital map all the buildings on Main Street and the castle. They project on it. They project onto the Matterhorn. But my only issue with this, and I've heard this from a lot of people, is that there is zero nostalgia for Disneyland. It doesn't focus on Disneyland at all. Like California Adventure, they go over Disneyland rides. Mm-hmm. In Disneyland's fireworks, they just do songs from Disney movies.
Oh, look at how big our explosions are in our old movies.
Yeah, it's cool. Everybody gets to sing towards Hakuna Matata and there's the Mary Poppins songs and Ariel, all this stuff. That's cool. Great, grand.
But it's all about the movies and not about the land itself. Is that right?
There's nothing about the park. It starts off look at the orange groves that used to be here. Hakuna Matata, and then it goes into a whole bunch of other crap. I don't want to listen to that. I want to hear stuff about the parks. It's the 50th anniversary celebration fireworks. Those are probably the best fireworks I've ever seen out of that park.
Really?
And it did a really good job of encompassing Disneyland and talking about it and celebrating Disneyland. This fireworks show doesn't celebrate Disneyland at all. It celebrates Disney movies and how much money they're making.
Which they're making tons with this.
Which I'm not bashing them on how much money they're making. I just don't like the fact that they're not focusing on what Disneyland is. It's supposed to be a celebration of Disneyland, not Disney movies.
Which is probably what they probably aimed to do that with World of Color, but it does need to be in both parks, especially the original theme park.
Yeah, I think it was a misstep. One of the few missteps Disney makes, but I think it was definitely a misstep for them to not really incorporate the theme park into their show.
Yeah, well, they have so many different shows as well, so it may be that they're just trying to fill up some shows.
And that's probably it, I can't harsh them for trying to do that, but I do take issue with not recognizing your own history on your own celebration.
Hear that, Disney? Our Disney fanatic over here at the Park Fanatics is telling you.
I take issue with you.
I take issue. So, but we really love the new World of Color show. We really
oh my god, that's fantastic! 2 thumbs up,
and that new
screaming
parade.
And cheering, it punches you in the gut with emotion. It made me tear up the first time I watched it.
All their new parades and all their new shows. Disney's really on point, and they didn't really have to do much to do it.
No,
so.
they honestly really didn't. And the Star Tours is still growing strong.
Of course,
everyone
stronger
loves that.
than ever.
Stronger than ever, really.
Yeah. Have you ridden that? The line is almost like an hour.
I ride it every time I go. It's so much fun. You don't know what you're gonna get.
Before all this hype, that used to be the first ride that we would go on because it was like a 10-minute wait.
Yeah,
and
Star Tours was never a big deal for anybody.
Now it's all popular
Comets!
again.
Comets!
Oh
it's like we're going into the comet asteroid field. How many times, Rex? I've ridden this ride about 20 times, and you've made the same mistakes every time. I'm kind of sick of your incompetence.
Yeah, they need to learn their lesson. But,
yeah, I know, right?
But yeah, as long as they keep messing up over there, I'll still keep riding that ride. But if the line's longer than an hour, I might have to skip out on it.
See, I just fast pass it, and then I get to ride it later. Enjoy the perks of using the fast pass.
Now I heard that they're going to bring in the premium fast pass over at Disney.
Oh, you mean the pay for the
wristband, like what all the other parks are doing.
I can't describe how much I am opposed to that idea.
Because every other park does that, and that Disney doing that seemed really.
It seems like a cash grab.
It does.
It seems like a cash grab because the idea and of fast passes works already.
It does.
Why would you change it?
Because they can charge for it. And that's, and you know what? Every park is doing it because even the Six Flags Fast Pass, the premium pass is
That's the Flash Pass, right?
Flash Pass, excuse me, is $110 per day for Magic Mountain.
It's $110 per day?
For the premium pass. Now, there are 2 other levels, and the cheapest one, I believe, is like $40 or $50. But it can get really expensive. Knott's has theirs for $40.
That's a great deal. And now they even offer it for Voyage to the Iron Reef and Accelerator.
Mm-hmm. And if it was $20 or $40, that's one thing. But $110, who knows how much Disney is going to charge when they decide to start upcharging?
I have no clue. And one of the issues I have with that whole idea is the fact that people can get fast passes so far in advance that I feel like if you go to the park, you won't be able to get a fast pass for anything, and then you'll not even be able to get on a ride.
Yeah,
and then
there's
even rumors of them testing out ride stuff on not ride stuff. They're testing out fast pass only attractions.
Really?
Where you don't even get to go on a ride unless you have a fast pass.
Oh my gosh. Just because the lines are getting so out of control, I guess.
No, I don't know. And I am so not a fan of that idea.
I know, because then the lines get longer for the people that can't purchase these things. If you got a bunch of people buying $40 passes, now the people that can't afford those $40 passes are standing in a 2 or 3 hour line because they get cut by the fast pass people so quick.
But even then, it's like if you're only offering fast pass only attractions, and this family who saved up 10 years worth of their money in order to visit Disneyland once because you've raised your prices too freaking high.
Yeah.
And they go and then they're turned away saying, "Oh, sorry, you can't ride this ride no matter how long you've saved your money because you don't have fast passes."
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Well, hopefully those rides, if they do ever implement fast pass only attractions,
are crappy.
Well, that or they'll at least have the free ones, maybe. that you can.
I'm really hoping that it doesn't come to that.
Are they planning on taking away Fast Pass altogether and just doing the premium? Or?
I have no clue. I haven't heard any news on whether or not they're going to be focusing on one or the other.
This is still from the rumor mill, but if every other park is doing it and making money, you can pretty much anticipate that Disney's going to follow suit.
Exactly. So, I mean, they, as much as I love Disney, they are really about money. It's a business. It's a business. And I'm not going to bash them for running their business.
That's right.
But I will voice my dislike for not really
Focusing on the people.
focusing on the people that really have made them who they are. Yeah. If it weren't for the people who were going to the parks, and it weren't for the people who are massive fans of this park, they wouldn't have that.
Yeah, it's true. But you know what? They're so popular that they can
do whatever the hell they want.
Whatever they want. And they can charge as much money as they want, too. And people will come. People will fly in from all over the world to go to little Anaheim and jump into Disneyland.
Hell, I have a season pass.
I know. I mean, you can't avoid it. Living in Southern California.
Can't avoid it. I mean, I enjoy it so much, and honestly, getting the season pass is probably the best option if you live in Southern California and you want to go to Disneyland. It's the best bet, and you could do the monthly payments. That's what I do.
Yeah, and you know what? It's almost become to the point, or gotten to the point where we are seeing Saturdays and Sundays, which are passes only. Is that right?
Yeah.
Are becoming less busy days than the weekdays because so many people are coming to visit.
Wait, what do you mean by passes only?
Well, I've some Saturdays and Sundays they only allow pass holders, and those are apparently the days to go because the people that aren't coming, the tourists and whatnot, aren't coming and clogging the park.
Oh no, man, they don't keep people from going. It's not just pass holders.
They don't have pass holder event onlys?
They do have pass holder events only.
Yeah.
But they don't turn away people who are visiting who aren't pass holders to go into the park. I think what that you might be thinking of is Sundays being the one of the days that aren't blocked out for all of the passes. So going from select, Southern California, Deluxe, Premium. Premium doesn't have any block-out dates, so we don't even have to mention it.
And how much is that nowadays?
$1 billion gajillion. I don't know. Your right kidney, probably.
Pretty much.
You have to give your right kidney in order to go to a Disney park and enjoy it.
Yeah.
But I think what you're thinking of is that all passes are open on Sunday, essentially,
That
for
makes
people to
sense.
go. And that's when it gets insane.
And I've heard that people prefer to go on those days because the general public generally tends to stay away.
They do because they have Monday coming up and work and things like that. People don't really plan vacations or Disneyland on a Sunday. Usually it's Saturday or a Friday or sometimes even a Thursday. Middle of the week is pretty okay.
Really? Mm-hmm. Really? See, that's when I would anticipate you would want to go, but I've heard that recently it's just been so packed. People wait 30 minutes for popcorn.
Yeah, I've been there where it's not even fun to be there.
Yeah, exactly.
I've been there where it's not even fun to be there.
And, at a certain point, you gotta decide when that's too much. And
and that's why they're raising their prices too, because they're trying to really control it. But I mean, they've caused this issue themselves. This is their own fault. So I think that's where we should leave off today. We've covered a ton of topics and information today for you guys.
That's right.
And I think Garrett's going to cover what we're probably going to go over for the next episode 2 of the Park Fanatics Podcast. What are we going to go see?
We have a lot still to cover, guys. That's the great part about this is that we next episode we'll be covering SeaWorld's Mako. We got some big news coming there. We also have Busch Gardens Tampa and their new roller coaster Cobra's Curse.
That looks cool.
I know, doesn't it? And then we also have, of course, all the 2016 RMCs that are rumored to be popping around.
Woo!
Woohoo! There's a lot more coming, guys, so please tune in next time for the Park Fanatics Podcast.
And we have some people we need to thank today during the podcast because, we are brand new to this thing.
That's right.
And, we don't have a lot of followers. We're hoping we grow to a certain size. But, there's certain people who have liked us already, and we wanted to thank them.
That's right. We have a lot of people that have shared our posts online and used our hashtag. And we're just going to kind of go over those.
So these are from Twitter, correct?
That's right. These are the Twitter followers that helped us out. We have AlexBrother_AQW.
And then we also have The Jewel Thief.
We have Chase C. Logan.
We also have Morgan Figgy.
That's right, Morgan Figgy and Aaliyah Lockland.
We also have I am Kid_A.
That's right. And Christy May.
And those last two were from Instagram, correct?
That's right. Those last two were from Instagram, but we love you on all social medias.
Platforms.
That's right.
Thank you so much for helping us out and retweeting, following us, liking us. We really do appreciate it here at the Park Fanatic Podcast.
That's right. And we also want to thank a couple of our inspirations. We really love our blogger friends and our podcast buddies. We really like Park Journey and California Coaster Kings.
And for me, I'm a big fan of TPA, Theme Park Adventure, and Jeff Tucker.
Of course.
Theme Park Adventure is a massive, massive inspiration for me. They cover so much information in the entertainment industry in general.
Great guys.
And they do a really good job over there. And they're also the hosts of Scare LA. They've been doing that too.
I didn't
That's
know that.
also another thing that I'm interested in because it's Halloween.
Hey.
So they're big inspirations on that level. And then Jeff Tugger over at Knott's Berry Farm. He is one of the funniest and nicest guys I've ever met, and you couldn't be luckier to have somebody who works for a company that's as great as Knott's Berry Farm, and he's a great representative for the company and all the fans he talks to, and he's the Facebook guy of Knott's Berry Farm, so it's not Scary Farm guy.
And we
so
also
that's cool.
we want to thank our fellow podcasters. We really do love our other theme park podcasts out there. I'm a big fan of Coaster Radio,
And I'm a big fan of the Season Pass podcast. I am a season pass holder, guys. Just to let you know, I am a season pass holder. I listen to
you
your
should be
podcast
too.
all the time.
And don't forget to check out Coaster Radio. They have their meetup coming up as well on July 18th at Knott's Berry Farm. You guys want to go see them. So we love those guys over there. And we want to thank you guys in particular for listening to our very first episode. We really do love you for that.
And you can find us on almost all social media platforms. You can hashtag us at Park Fanatics. Don't forget that. We'll see anything that you guys post if you hashtag Park Fanatics. You can find us at Facebook. It's the Park Fanatics. You can find us on Twitter at Park Fanatics, Instagram at Park Fanatic, and our email is parkfanatic@gmail.com. Email us directly. If you have any questions, interests, concerns, complaints, let us know. We'll be
Please
happy
do.
to answer or alleviate any issues for you.
So we really thank you guys for tuning in. You're the best for doing that. And
I'm Gabe Montoya. You can follow me at Laker793.
that's right. Now I'm Garrett Simcox. You can follow me on Twitter at @TheCoasterRoll.
And guys, always remember, don't just be a fan, be a fanatic. See you later, guys.